Welcome to episode number 16 of the Golf Front Podcast. My name is Brett Bevilacqua. I'm a realtor with Carolina Property Sales in Southern Pines, North Carolina. I'm lucky enough to live in one of the best areas for golf on the planet. And this week, the streak of world-class courses continues. Located across the street from Pine Needles and just 5 miles from downtown Pinehurst lies Mid Pines Golf Club. Is Mid Pines my favorite golf course of all time? I don't know about that, but it is certainly in the conversation. At just 6,166 yards from the white tees, this is a Donald Ross course that mere mortals have a chance at. Sure, there are a lot of bunkers and waste areas. Sure, there is a bunch of greens with false fronts, but there are opportunities to score all over this course. From the back, this par 72 plays just over 6,700 yards with a rating of 71 and a slope of 126. As I said, from the whites, it plays just under 6,200 with a friendly rating of 68.7 and slope of 122. For me, what makes this so worthwhile is rarely do you find a course this well regarded, cared for, and maintained that is rated this easy. Normally this rating and slope is reserved for goat trails. Mid Pines is perfect, easy-ish, and so much fun. Don't get me wrong, if you're an average golfer, you still probably aren't breaking 80, and if you are an expert, you will most certainly be challenged. The most important thing, if you've played on other Donald Ross courses, especially Pinehurst or Pine Needles, this is your chance to exact a little revenge. Before we get started, I think it is a great idea to pick up a yardage book in the pro shop for $11. Even if you have a rangefinder, which I don't, but everyone I play with does, I found the yardage book to be a very valuable tool and perhaps even better than a rangefinder. I will definitely be back many more times, so it was money well spent. I wish more courses offered yardage books. Mid Pines opens with a medium-length par 4 from an elevated tee box. If your drive leaks left, the bunker in the rough could be trouble, or, if like me, you could go left of the bunker, lay up, and start your round with a 6. The green is uphill. There is a tremendous and deep bunker to the right of the green with 2 small bunkers, one about 40 yards in front of the green and the other beside the front. The very large green is not for the faint of heart, and you'll be lucky to get away with a 2-putt unless your approach shot is close. The second is a medium-length par 3. There is a bunch of waste area in front of the green. The green has a false front, which will be a reoccurring theme at Mid Pines, and there are 2 hellacious bunkers front left and front right. The green isn't small, but it also isn't very deep. Again, lots of twists and turns on the second green, and you'll earn your par here even if you find the green in regulation. The third is a longish par 4 with water in front of the tee box. The fairway is straight, but does bend to the right after the pond. I have never played Mid Pines when the right side of the fairway wasn't wet. With that in mind, you are better off putting your tee shot on the left side of the fairway. If you get a little too greedy, it is very possible to fly the fairway, and then you will have a tough time finding a clear shot to the green. There are a pair of bunkers in front of the green to the left and to the right. The fourth is a short, slightly uphill par 4. If you can get past the left side bunker off the tee, you will have nothing more than a wedge to the green. The bunker on the right is very deep and must be avoided at all costs. That's not to say the bunker to the left is any more pleasurable. The name of the game on 4 is to keep it in the center of the fairway, out of the bunkers, grab a par, and move on to the next hole. The fifth is a short par 5. The bunker to the right of the fairway is easily carried. There is a small pond in a valley that tightens up the fairway from about 135 to 80 yards from the green. There is a series of bunkers along and to about the middle of the green on the right, as well as a very large bunker and waste area on the left. This deep but thin green is sloped aggressively, so even if you are there in 2, a birdie isn't in the bag. The sixth is another par 5, and this one is longer than the fifth. There are a number of bunkers and waste area down the right, and a number of small bunkers both right and left for about the last 60 yards to a very small turtleback green. The seventh is a medium-length par 4. Most players should be able to carry the bunker on the right. If your approach shot is from the right side, there is a large tree that will probably have you lining up just to the left of the green, where there is no trouble. The 7th green is very forgiving and a nice break. Get there in 2 and pick up a par. The 8th is a medium-length downhill par 3. There are a couple of bunkers to the left and one up front on the right side. This small green is sloped back to front, but not too tough depending on pin placement. The 9th is a short dogleg right par 4. The fairway bunker to the right is easily carried, and anywhere in the fairway near the left side bunker will set you up with an easy approach shot. The left side of the green is incredibly difficult and will most likely break left, then right, depending on pin placement. There is a halfway house near the 10th tee box. I have never tried it, but I'd be willing to bet it is up to the same standards as the excellent halfway house at Pine Needles. The 10th is a medium-length par 5 that feels quite a bit longer thanks to the hill in the landing area. There are bunkers flanking the fairway that will punish you. This is a layup hole for most players as the tiny green is protected by 4 bunkers. If that wasn't enough, this is another green with a false front. Such a tough hole and can wreck your back 9 before you know it. 11 is one of those holes I just can't score on, a medium-length par 3 that requires a very precise tee shot to avoid the bunkers. For some reason, when I played, the tees were up and it was extremely short, and I still had a triple. The green is rife with mounds, bulges, and I went from chipping off the cart path to over the green into the sand. From there, I had a miraculous out and then went on to 3-putt. This is after an inch of rain the night before with slow greens. I could only imagine how tough of a time I would have had it been a dry day. One of the guys I was playing with put it 10 feet from the pin and still 3-putt. 12 is a medium-length par 4 that plays a bit downhill and the fairway turns a bit to the left. There are 3 bunkers down the left and some waste area to the right of the fairway. You may naturally favor the right side of the fairway. I do too, but the left side will give you a much safer angle to the green. The green is protected by a bunker on either side, but the treachery comes from hitting it long to the back right, where you will roll off. As far as I'm concerned, the 13th at Mid Pines is one of the toughest par 3s without water that I have ever played. It is long. When I last played it, it was 180 from the green tees, 197 from the whites, and 230 from the tips. If you can't reach the green, lay up short in the middle of a small fairway and do your best to get up and down. The bunkers are large and cover most of the area that is not green. The bunker front left is really tough to escape. The green isn't as demanding as most greens at Mid Pines, but that doesn't mean it is easy by any stretch. 14 is a medium-length par 4. I feel like a broken record. That's because every par 4 on the course from the 4th to the 14th is less than 385 yards from the tips and between 310 and 360 yards from the white tees. If you don't hit them as long as you used to but have a really good short game, you can clean up against your friends here. This is the sort of course I would have loved to take my dad when he was still playing. He didn't hit him that far, but it was a force around the green. He would have loved it. Us younger guys who usually play from the whites will really like going driver 9-iron to the green. Anyway, back to 14. Driver, then a 9-iron, which in my case dodged both frightening bunkers only to come up short and plug on the green's false front. This was one of my few approach shots I didn't push left and of course came up short. I somehow 2-putt and walked away with a par. As I walked off the green, I noticed the bunker in the back. You don't want to go there. 13 is a medium-length par 5 that has a little, tiny, maybe 130 square foot trap out in the left rough. And yup, I found it. There are 2 bunkers in front of the elevated green and another green with a false front, which I was also able to experience for the bogey. 16 is a lengthy dogleg left that starts from an extremely elevated tee box. There are bunkers down the left side rough, but I got on my drive and put it on the apex of the fairway. From the right, it was an easy 9-iron to the green, which only has bunkers in the front. 16 had maybe the most friendly green on the course, and oddly enough, it was a touch quicker than the rest. The par 4 17th has a number of bunkers in the rough on both sides of the fairway that can trip you up. Miss your drive and hit it short to the right, sand. Crush it and don't play the slight bend to the right, and more sand. There are a pair of bunkers flanking the false front green. 18 is a long par 4 with one of the tighter fairways on the course. There is sand near the green, and there is nothing easy about the 18th. Mid Pines is a fantastic golf course. It will always be near the top of any list I make, whether it be Sandhills courses, North Carolina courses, or just courses I've played, and I've played quite a few. Mid Pines is pretty expensive. Even in the off-season, it is just shy of $100, and it is much more during prime season. I hate to say it, but it is worth it. It just is. It is an impeccably maintained Donald Ross classic. You get your pars, maybe even a birdie or two, but make a mistake and you will be playing for a triple. For me, and I have said it before, there is something about playing a Donald Ross course that helps you understand the game differently. For more information, go to midpinesin.com or give them a call at 910-692-2114. As for golf front property, Mid Pines doesn't have much, just a few homes on maybe 4 or 5 holes, which is an outlier for the Sandhills, but the course is just a short drive from downtown Southern Pines. Thanks for listening. If you want more information about Southern Pines, give me a call at 845-365-3665 or send an email to brett@hmpfilms.com and I will show you all the area has to offer. Once again, I'm Brett Bevilacqua with Carolina Property Sales. Next week, we continue with another Donald Ross course. You may have heard of it, Pinehurst, number 2.